Hello again, Acer fans. So today I'm going to show you kind of where I've gone wrong actually. I've done the right action, but having spoken to a really excellent guy here in the UK, I think I've got some better advice. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about this tree, which if you follow the channel you may have seen before, and it's a Trompenberg that I've had for a couple of years now, but unlike some of my other plants, it just hasn't taken off. And even though ridiculously I put it into a far too big a pot, as you can see here, I've downsized it, and I don't think it looks a crazy size of pot to the tree, but nonetheless, when I've come to water my trees today, and there's a video going about that very soon, if I put the water meter on, it's still almost off the scale. In fact, if I push it in still further, it is really right at the top. So you can compare and contrast that with other trees that I've actually tested, and all but one other, and that was borderline, needed watering. So this sort of is saying very clearly to me that this poor thing just isn't in a decent state for uptaking water. The roots aren't able to bring the water to the leaves, it's getting bogged down, and it can't sort of dry itself out basically. Then you'll end up with a vicious circle where what appears on the top here, as I said before, to be sort of sunburn damage or whatever, is actually the plant dehydrating because its feet are drowning, so to speak. And again, just to sort of revisit the stem here, it's sort of a bit calloused and a bit not looking 100%. So I think we still have some problems. I think transplanting it was the right thing to do. But having taken some brilliant advice from a chap called Hilton, who from Packhorse Nurseries, I'm going to try and remedy the situation. So in order to do that, I've actually found a sort of technical pot here, which is kind of what you buy the plants in, really. Why? Because his advice was to kind of repot your plant into the sort of smallest possible container that will take the root ball. So if we just have a little dig in here, and you can see from the weathering there, actually, you know, this isn't a new label, it's been around a couple of years really. But if we take a little dig and delve here, as you can see, if I gently prise that up, just get really careful and get my hand underneath it. I don't want to do any more kind of damage. Again, really kind of need two hands for this. I must invest in a tripod. But there we are. And there's the roots. Now, to be fair, I'd almost say that has come on a little bit from what it was. And there are roots there. There is a root ball with trailing roots down here. But what I think I'm going to do, and I've only just used this, you know, as fresh compost, is I'm going to basically offer it up and see how we're going over here. And that's a pretty good fit actually. So it needs packing out at the bottom, etc. But I just really think that's going to help not the plant not drowning in too much water essentially. So again, I don't want to damage that too much, but what I'll do, I'll just pause the video there and then do a little bit of work, and you can see what's happened. So there we are. That's my little Trompenberg, really taking a step back, I suppose, and going back into the sort of size pot that you probably would have originally bought this in. And I'm just hoping that by doing that, we're going to give him a fresh start. Now, before you all do this, I've never done this before. So if those that watch the channel, those that follow the channel probably know I don't mind taking a little bit of a risk and having a go for the benefit of all, really. You can clearly see that there's dieback here and there's been some problems. But my concern is, what we really want is this to form a really good solid mass of roots in here. In here, it's just going to sort of be, it's overkill really. if this actually falls a nice solid mass of roots, and if you follow the channel, please subscribe, etc. We'll come back to this in the sort of weeks and months to come. I'm hoping that, fingers crossed, I'll be able to lift this out one day and have a nice solid ball of roots, and that's what's going to really protect this through frost. It's going to protect it through the winter months, to be honest with you, and give it a really head start for next year. I don't think this is a lost cause. I think there's plenty of nice green, new growth on here, but I think while downsizing was the right thing to do, I think putting it down to a pot that's as small as possible would be really beneficial. I'll give it a quick retest, and as you can see, this particular compost actually is not quite as bad. So I'm going to keep this under my close eye. It's going to need a little bit more watering on a regular basis if it does do well and dry out. But if there is a bit of a downpour and it gets very wet, at least it's going to minimise the amount of moisture that's in the plant. So good luck, Mr. Trompenberg. There we go. And we'll see you soon in the next video. And again, this is one we'll hopefully be revisiting in the weeks and months to come with some good news. Take care. So this part of the video is a few days later. So apologies for any continuity errors, but this is what I've done. So I thought, here's the Trompenberg repotted, much smaller pot. And here's the Killarney, for example, which had a really good robust root system, filled this pot quite nicely, put a bit of compost around the side. So there's a video on that one where my trip to go and buy him or her and all the rest of it. But let's have a look. So last couple of days, or last night particularly, was a fairly decent amount of rain. It wasn't as bad as perhaps we thought. But if we look at Killarney here and put that in there, that's pretty decent. It's filled up. Sometimes it's nice to try a couple of places just to see what's going on. But that's quite wet. It's fine. We've got a warm day scheduled for tomorrow. It's been fairly warm today, and it is heading the right direction. So the moisture levels are kind of what I expected, really. If we try the Trompenberg now and put that in there, what we can see is that it's got a nice medium kind of moisture level. So I'm quite pleased with that, because we've gone from a situation where the sort of same amount of rainwater in my trees would cause this one in its large pot to be really saturated, and now it's just a nice level. I mean, it's telling me that I need to keep a bit of an eye on it because it has absorbed more water actually than it might have done. But a bit of a thumbs up here. I feel as though I've done the right thing, because with the same amount of water, as I was saying, then this has actually used it up at a reasonable rate, and it's not just sitting on wet all the time and potentially having rotting roots, really. So far so good. Yes, we'll come back to it in months to come. I hope we will. Hope she does really well. But I think the correct pot size, actually, as advised, getting the root ball into the pretty much the smallest pot you can and giving it a fresh start. So far so good. We're heading the right direction. Cheers. So I really hope you're enjoying the content of these videos. If you are, if you could like and subscribe to the channel, that would be fantastic. And please hit the notification bell as well, because that way you'll know when I upload more. I'm really, really pleased with how things have progressed, and this little channel sort of growing quite nicely, really. So thanks for all those that subscribed already, and a special thanks to all those that ask questions or have ideas, and please let me know if you want any more different content, because we can do that. And I hope to see you soon in another video. Cheers.